and welcome back to my channel. Okay, we're going to talk today about psychic abilities, and this is the real talk about how I used to think that psychic people were just born different. Even though I've had abilities since I was 6. When I first had my abilities, I grew up thinking everybody had abilities. And then as I came further along in my 30s, I started thinking, well, then do just some of us have abilities? And like, God, the universe just randomly selected a few people that we are like, you get one ability and you get ability and you get ability and you don't. You just got skipped, which that's pretty darn crappy. But then I realized that's not how it works at all. And after doing this like for over 10 years, psychic ability isn't a gift that some people just get and some people don't. We all have abilities. We all are psychic. It's just some are more in tuned with listening than others. And it's basically a channel. And it's whether or not your channel is open or whether or not your channel is closed. But the beautiful part is you always can open it or you can always close it. And it can be blocked, but it also can be developed. And no matter what, it never goes away. You always have it's always there. It's always there. So today I'm going to break down 5 signs that you're actually psychic because like I said, you all have abilities. And you've all had these abilities your whole entire life. You've just been calling it something else. So I'm going to help you with like your wording and help you say like, "Oh, I get it now." Because maybe you've been calling it anxiety. Maybe you've been calling it coincidence. Maybe you've been calling it being dramatic. Feel like that was the one my family used to call it for me. And I need you to hear this that you're not dramatic. You were just probably more tuned in than others. So let's just dive in and let's get into it. Sign number 1. You already know how a conversation is going to go before it happens. Not like a vague feeling that something might happen. I mean, you had a full on mental previews, like a little movie in your head. How many of you guys have had these like random conversations in your head or like a vision in your head? Like or a specific like you knew exactly like or of a specific phone call or a specific argument, a specific moment, and then it happens exactly like you imagined it to happen, word for word sometimes. Energy for energy. Is that a thing? Energy for energy? I don't know. That's not a coincidence. That's literally your clairvoyance warming up. Clairvoyance is means clear seeing. And these are visions, these are dreams, these are, like I said, those movies that are happening in your head, like a projector screen. Okay. It can be dramatic visions. That's what most people think it is like these dramatic visions or like I see ghosts. But for most people, it's really shows up in a quieter way than that. It shows up with like flashes as mental images that just pop out of nowhere. Like I literally will be at times like, oh my God, I just had a thought and I see it like in my head. I see it. And that's how I get it. Um, and that's kind of like learning how to pay attention to that when it pops up. Or like you might randomly just know the ending of a movie or a situation or just whatever it is before it actually happens. So I want you to think back right now. Has there ever been a moment where you knew, not hoped, not assumed, but knew exactly how something was going to unfold? And then it did. And I want to say that wasn't your imagination. That's not your imagination. That's where we need to stop thinking like this is just a coincidence. That was your clairvoyance giving you a preview. The reason most people dismiss this is because that we've been taught that seeing is believing. So you have to see it like fully, logic, everything in order to fully understand it. You have to witness something with your physical eyes in order to believe it. But that's not the way that our psychic abilities operate whatsoever. They are on a completely different plane. It's not about your physical eyes at all. It's about your inner vision. And we're even talk about like your inner knowing that, and that's kind of where it is that like, even though I can't physically see this with my physical eyes, I'm going to acknowledge it. And that's where the trusting starts. That's where the growth starts. Like you have to acknowledge it. Okay. All right. Here we go. Number 2. You feel other people's emotions in your body. And I don't mean like, oh, I feel so sympathetic. I mean, you walk into a room and suddenly you are anxious, you're heavy, you're irritated, you're overwhelmed, and you may have been like happy and joyful. And like all of a sudden, something you walk in your room and you're like, nothing really happened that would have caused this. But now here you are. So, like, you were fine in the car, you were fine in the hallway. And the second you walked in that door, something completely different shifted. That's not your mood. That's you picking up the energy in the room. And that is called being clairsentient. Now, I'm not going to really hone in too much on the word empath because you also have this ability if you're empath. And if you're a clairsentient, you're not necessarily empath, and just because you're an empath doesn't mean you're necessarily clairsentient. But clairsentience means clear feeling. Now, you may often say, like, I feel this is going to happen. That's a sign. Okay. But you also have the ability to feel the energy in the room. And sometimes, like, you might feel physical sensations that don't, like, you have no connection to it. You're like, I don't know why I feel this anxiety, or I don't know why I feel like even maybe like an ache or a pain, or just you just have to, like, it comes out of nowhere. And I want to be really honest with you in this one because this gift gets the most people into trouble because nobody's really taught you what it was. Nobody said, hey, that anxiety that's really like rising up in you right now when you're around certain people, guess what? That's not yours. And you might want to pay attention to that. Nobody said like that heavy feeling you're carrying after like having family dinners. You might have taken that on from like your family. So instead you just thought, I'm just this really overthinking, overanalyzing, anxious person, and you thought you were really moody. You thought maybe something was wrong with you. I've seen this so many times, and nothing was wrong with you. You're just this open channel that doesn't know how to control it, doesn't know how to navigate it. There's no filter, and no one ever taught you how to like close the door, bubble protection, protect yourself. So you spent your entire life feeling like you're too sensitive. And that's a whole thing when you're just like, I'm too sensitive. No, no, you're not. You're right where you need to be. Like, they may make you feel like you feel things way too deeply, like you need time alone after being around certain people. Like, certain environments just drain you for no logical reason. I remember my ex-father-in-law, I would actually fall asleep around him. I couldn't keep my eyes open for the love of me because I could feel how heavy his energy was. And all of this is like what I'm trying to tell you is part of being clairsentient. That's a psychic ability. That is a psychic gift. It's just an uncomfortable one that we all don't like, that nobody taught you how to manage, but the good news is that it's manageable. And so once you know how or what it is, you can work with it instead of being allowing it to kind of run you. You learn how to like kind of protect yourself, block it, understand it, navigate it, and maybe even use it for your benefit, which is really all of these abilities you should be using for your benefit. Okay. Number 3, you think of someone and then they contact you. That not once, not as like a fluke, consistently. You think of your mom and then she texts you. This happens all the time. Like, I'll think of somebody and then they call me. Or you think about a friend that you haven't talked to in years and then they pop up in your DMs. You're about to call someone and your phone's already ringing from them. I know of somebody recently that was like kept thinking of this individual, like they could feel like this individual remind them of a place, and they're like, I don't know why, but I keep thinking of this place, which when I think of this place I think of this person. And literally they ran into that person that day. It was crazy. They're like, that's why it was out of nowhere. It's not random. This is energy communicating with you. And here's what's actually happening. Energy is not limited by physical distance. Energy passes time and space. And I say this all the time. Energy doesn't need a phone. It doesn't need a message. When you hold someone like in your mind with intention, even without realizing it, you're actually like connecting to them. So whenever like you think of somebody, even if like you're like not really trying to, but it happens, you're actually like connecting energetically to them. Energy is getting sent to them and they're connecting. And sensitive people on the other end, they can feel that pull. They can feel that. They don't always know why they thought of you. They just did. And you've been doing this your whole life, like your whole life. So think about it of times when you've said, "Oh my gosh, I was just thinking about you." That's not small talk. That's evidence that the energy you are transmitting and sending to them, they are receiving and getting. Okay. This is why certain people just drain you just by you thinking about you. Like, let me think about that. Have you ever randomly felt tired or just like off and then you found out later that someone was venting about you or thinking about you intensely? That's the same like a mechanism. Energy moves. You're sensitive to it. Like you are sensitive to it. That's crazy, right? That's why I said like the power of intention is the strongest thing ever. Okay. Number 4. I keep Okay, you can calm down. This is number 4 for what we're talking about with the psychic abilities. Now, I have tried to record this last part of this video so many times. I recorded the first part of the video all together, and then the the mic dropped, then my mic dropped again. So now hopefully you guys hear me good and the audio is good, but we're going to go into number 4. I got to breathe because okay. Number 4, you have vivid dreams that just feel different than your regular dreams. And you know the difference. I know you know the difference between these dreams. I used to call them premonitions where I just knew things were going to happen before they happened. I visually saw them. You know, regular dreams can be really weird, they can be really scattered. And like when we wake up, we tend to really forget them. But these dreams sit with us. They sit with us all day. These are the ones where you actually feel like you did something, like you had a conversation, you were working, you were traveling, like you woke up from information that maybe you didn't have when you went to sleep. Now, this is a mix of abilities. This is between claircognizance, which is a sense of knowing, and clairvoyance, which is a sense of seeing. But these aren't just dreams. I want you to understand this is your psychic channel that is really opening up when your logical mind shifts off. And for a lot of us, we don't give the space for this to happen. So when we go to sleep, when we're finally relaxed, you know, our brain isn't focusing on the to-do list. Our brain isn't focusing on the notifications of like, oh, my phone's going off or whatever it is. But at night, your analytical mind really steps back. And that's when your higher self and your guides and your loved ones on the other side, that's when they actually get through. I've had clients so many times come to me and actually say, like, I've had my grandmother visit me in my sleep. Like, I think this is them. I'm not sure this is them, but that was a real visit. And I want to help you acknowledge why that was a real visit, because that when you know, like you ever have a dream and you're like, I know you're not supposed to be here. Like I know you passed, but I don't know what's like why you're here. That's real communication. I know you guys have had these dreams and it just felt different. These dreams make them like where it just feels solid. It feels present. It feels more than just a dream. You're not making this up. You are not making this up. This was your loved one. This is a psychic ability. This is ability. So pay attention to your dreams. I want you to start paying attention to the signs and the symbols. I want you to start writing down your dreams, because our guides and our spirit team really use our dreams to deliver us messages that maybe we need to know or we need to knowledge or look at things that we are not looking at in every single day. Okay, so treat your dreams like the signal that it is meant to be for you. Number 5. Whew. You have these strong gut feelings that just turn out to be right, and you've learned to just completely ignore them. I said it because we've all learned to just ignore them. Every single time you said, I knew it, I knew something was off, I shouldn't have been in this relationship with them, I shouldn't have done that, I should have listened to myself. Your intuition was doing its job, but you completely were like, I'm dismissing it. I'm not listening to it. I'm not giving it credit, because you've kind of learned that your feelings aren't true data and your feelings aren't really logical and they can't be trusted. But here's the thing, they can. And here's what I want you to understand, that your intuition is not separate from your intelligence. Your intuition is not below your logical mind, okay? It's just a different kind of knowing. It actually processes information quicker and faster than your conscious mind, and actually integrates it into you in a different way that your analytical brain can. Okay, so it has access to things that your physical senses can't really detect. So let's not underestimate our intuition in a sense. Okay, the problem is
isn't that you're not psychic. The problem is that you were taught that your body signals and like your gut feeling and all these random senses of just knowing don't count. And they don't count unless you can really explain it and whether you can prove it. It doesn't deserve to be honored. But your gut has a track record. So think about it for a second. It has actually tracked, if you actually tracked your gut record and actually kept record, how many times would that accuracy be right? Like for most intuitive people, it's really high. This is why I say start keeping track of like, I have this weird feeling or I have this weird sense of knowing. Like, I don't know why I feel this. I don't know why I know this. Just start writing things down and watch how often it's actually right more than wrong. But the problem is that we only remember when it was wrong. We don't remember when it was right. So we don't give it credit. So start trusting what you just know. I want you to understand that these gifts don't just show up for a reason, that they don't just exist randomly, and you're not watching this video out of coincidence. So if any one of these five resonated, or even more than five resonated, if you felt like, oh, that's me, or something in you already knows, or maybe you're remembering who you've always been, the question is like, what are you going to do with it? How are you going to utilize it in your life? Because this is the biggest thing that you could do for yourself is start listening and acknowledging, because knowing that you have a gift and actually being able to trust it and move and navigate life with it, those are two different things. And learning how to connect them, that's what I do. I work one-on-one with people to actually activate this, not just learn about it, not just read a book about it, but to actually open up your channel, to clear out what's been blocking it, to help you start living from a level of knowing on a daily basis. So if you're interested in this and any of my services, the link is below. And that's your intuition. If you're like, ooh, I think it's time for me, go swiping, get a energy clearing, which I will activate you during that clearing, all of the great stuff. But I want you guys to subscribe to my channel, like, comment. But I genuinely want to know like which one of these five, or if more than five, really connected to you, or maybe it's been one of the hardest for you in your own life to navigate. Was it the dreams or the gut feelings, or maybe the empathic stuff that I talked about? But tell me. All right, guys, I'll see you in the next one. Bye.